off by taking all of your long pieces of macrame cord and threading through the wooden loop. Then fold all of the lengths of macrame cord in half so that the folded end, the halfway point, is on the wooden hoop and the cut ends are at the other end. Tape your hoop down on the table or place a heavy object on top of it to make sure that it doesn't move. Take your shorter piece of macrame cord and place it on top of the pieces of cord that are through the ring. Fold it back on itself and then start winding the long end around all of the lengths of cord so that it coils around and works its way down and around all of the lengths of cord. But I would say a minimum of 4 times, maybe a maximum actually of about 8 times. When you're happy, take the short end of cord at the bottom and push it through the loop. Then you need to take both of the cut ends of the short piece of cord, pull the one at the top so that the knot gets hidden behind those loops of cord that are running around all of the lengths. And once the knot is hidden behind, you can pull on both ends of cord until it's really, really nice and tight, and that knot is hidden and tight behind the loops of cord. Then you can cut off the ends and you have made your gathering knot. Well done. Next up, we need to split all the lengths of cord out into 3 groups of 4. Try and make sure that the groups of cord sit neatly together at the top. Put 2 sets of 4 to one side and keep 1 set of 4 in the middle for us to work with. Now we're going to split this group of 4 into 2. So the 2 outer cords are going to be our working cords and the 2 in the middle will be the lazy ones. They're kind of like the anchor that we tape the anchor cords down to the table just to make sure that they stay nice and tight and they don't move around. We're going to tie our first knot 15 centimeters down from the bottom of the gathering knot. So measure that and make a mark on the table or pop something in place to show you where that 15 centimeter point is. Take the left hand working cord and fold it at right angles so that it goes across and over the anchor cords in the middle, kind of like makes a number 4 shape. And then take the right hand working cord and pop it over the left hand cord, under the 2 anchor cords in the middle, and then under and up through the number 4 triangle that we created on the left hand side. Then pull both of the working cords evenly to tie a knot around the anchor cords. You need to make sure that that knot sits roughly at the 15 centimeter mark. Okay, so we're going to carry on making these knots. So with the left hand cord, fold it across at right angles into a number 4 shape. And then with the right hand cord, go over, under the anchor cords, and then up through the triangle on the left hand side. Keep working your way down, following exactly the same process. I'll show you a few more times just so that you can really get that clear. And you'll start to notice that the knots that are being worked onto the anchor cords are twisting, and that is because we are making a spiral knot around the anchor cords. So if you just keep going until your knots measure about 3 centimeters. You need to make sure that each time you pull the knots they're of an even tension and try not to make them too tight or too loose. You'll get used to it. Okay, so if you'd like to add a bead, you can do that at this point. If you don't want to add a bead, you can just continue and make your spiral knots go until they measure 6 centimeters. But to add a bead, take the 2 anchor cords and take a piece of tape and wind it around the ends of the anchor cords to make sure that they're strong and pointed enough to go through the bead. Thread your bead through and push the bead all the way up to where the knots are. Tape the anchor cords back down at this point because it definitely makes life a bit easier, and then just carry on. So take the left hand cord, make a triangle across the anchor cords, and then the right hand cord goes over, under the anchor cords and up through the triangle on the left. Keep working your way down with exactly the same process until your second lot of knotting also measures about 3 centimetres. You can pop that set to one side now and repeat the exact same process with both of the other sets of 4 cords. Okay, so we now have 3 sets of spiral knots with beads in them. I'm just going to move it up slightly so that you can see where I'm working. Okay, so take 2 sets of 4, 2 of the adjacent sets of 4, and lay them down next to each other. And you want to split out the 2 left hand and the 2 right hand cords from each set. So the 2 right hand cords from the left hand set are going to join with the 2 left hand cords from the right hand set to create a new set of 4. You'll find that now when you separate them out to anchor cords and working cords, the 2 working cords are much longer than the 2 anchor cords, because previously they were anchor cords and they didn't do any of the work. Tape down your 2 new anchor cords, and then we need to start making our knots in a similar way as before. The first knot is actually exactly the same. So the left hand working cord makes a triangle over the anchor cords, and the right cord goes over, under the anchor cords, and then up through the triangle on the left hand side. Take a tape measure, and again we want to make sure that this knot sits about 15 centimetres below the bottom of the previous set of spiral knots. So if you just take something and pop it on your table to make sure that you can see that position. You might have to move your knot down slightly. Now for the second knot this time, we're going to go in reverse. So take the right hand cord, fold it in a triangle across and over the anchor cords, and then take your left hand cord and go over, under the anchor cords and up through the triangle on the right hand side. Pull the 2 knots tight, and you'll see that this time those 2 knots will sit quite flat rather than spiraling around. That's it for this step, so you can move that new set of 4 to one side. Take the 2 left hand cords from what was the left hand set, and then the 2 right hand cords from the adjacent set on the left. So again, we're making a new set of 4. Just to double check, you will see that the new working cords will be extra long and the new anchor cords will be slightly shorter because they are what did the work last time around. And we're going to repeat exactly the same process as before, and then take the left hand cord, a triangle across, and then the right hand cord goes over, under and up through on the left. And then take the right hand cord and make the triangle, kind of like a back to front number 4. And then the left hand cord goes over, under the anchor cords and up through the right hand side. This time when you tie the knot, just make sure that it sits at the same place as the knot on the previous 4 cords. Then we want to take the final 4 cords and make our last working set. So you have the 2 in the middle as the anchor cords, which you can tape down. Repeat the knotting process. Double check that the knot sits at the same point down the cords as on your previous sets. Then we're going to repeat that process to further create the cage that our plant pot is going to sit in. Okay, so again, take 2 adjacent cords and you want to split them out. So the 2 left-hand cords of the right-hand set and the 2 right-hand cords of the left-hand set will make a new set of 4. Take the 2 anchor cords down in the middle, and then the 2 new working cords. We're going to do exactly the same as we did last time and make a flat knot. So the first time, you make the triangle on the left-hand side. This time the knot needs to sit about 8 centimetres below the previous knot that you made. Then take the right-hand cord, make the triangle, and then the left goes over, under the anchor cords and up through the triangle on the right-hand side. Pull that tight, and then you can keep working your way around so that you have 3 new sets of 4 with 3 flat knots. The final step is to tie all of the cords together in a knot at the bottom to make sure that you create a nice firm base for your plant pot. The bottom knot needs to sit roughly 6 centimeters below the previous set of knots. I quite like to draw a little pen line on one of the cords just so that I can see exactly where I'm aiming for. Then take all the cords and tie a single knot. Pull it nice and tight, making sure that it's roughly at that 6 centimeter point. I usually pull on each of the cords just to make sure that they're all even and it's pulled really nice and tightly. Your final job is just to trim the bottom of all of the cords to make sure they're nice and level, and if you'd like to, you can take a brush and brush them all through to make them a bit more tassely. Then just take your plant pot and sit it inside the cage and you are good to go. I'd love to see your makes, so please remember to share them with me and follow me at The Makery Kate for more ideas. Thank you so much for watching.